Alright, so for this one, we're going to try out the new Perk Recombobulator, and we're also going to convert one of our legacy weapons. The first thing I should point out is that before you can do the Perk Recombobulator, you will have to complete Plankerton Storm Shield Defense number 2. And once you completed that, you'll see a new tutorial quest called Perk Replacement, which is going to give you some of the new perks that you need in order to re-roll. So in order to complete that quest, you're going to have to go to the Armory tab and then go to Schematics and then select the weapon you want to re-roll. And we'll go ahead and use this scope Dragonfly as an example. You want to select the weapon, go to Upgrade and Inspect, and in the bottom right you'll see an option that says Upgrade. Now once you select that, you'll see a new option that says Modify Perks. And go ahead and select it, and it says here, say hello to the Vindertech Perk Recombobulator. This new tool lets you customize weapon and trap perks for even more husk crushing power. Many older items have to be converted before a recombobulation. The recombobulation process will change some existing perks, but if your converted items have free slots, you can choose the new perks yourself. Try it out and perk up that armory. So let's go ahead and show a preview. Do you accept these changes? That means we're going to get a free slot for our second and third slot, and for our fifth slot. We're still going to get the 15% damage in our first slot, as well as 20% damage instead of headshot damage for our fourth slot. So again, we're going to go ahead and convert this just to see what it looks like. Let's go ahead and convert it. Alright, so now we have a couple of free slots. And for this one, we're going to go ahead and choose magazine size. I believe either magazine size or reload speed are probably going to be the best perks for this slot. But we're going to go ahead and choose magazine size and confirm it. And there we go. We just completed our Perk Replacement quest. And we got all of these materials, which we're going to use to upgrade our schematic perks. So this little wrench is going to be used to modify schematic perks found in Plankerton and above. This one's going to be used to upgrade schematic perks found in Plankerton and Canny Valley. This is going to be used to upgrade schematic perks found in Canny Valley, and this one's found in Canny Valley and Twine Peaks. So these are the new re-perk and perk up resources. Let's go ahead and collect all of them. And as you can see, we got that magazine size right there. Let's go ahead and do our other free slots as well. Let's go ahead and make this nature. I already have snipers that have the other elements, so we'll go ahead and make it nature for now. For our last slot, we can either do damage to missed monsters and bosses, damage to afflicted targets, damage to slowed and snared, and damage to stunned staggered. And for this one, we're going to choose the damage to missed monsters. And it also looks like we got an extra perk at the very bottom. Getting 5 headshots in a row increases ranged weapon damage by 30% for 10 seconds. So that's how the Perk Recombobulator works. As for the next tutorial quest, this one's called Perk Upgrade. And for this one, you're going to have to visit the Armory tab to upgrade a perk on a schematic of your choice. And at the very bottom, you can see the rewards for completing this tutorial quest. So let's go ahead and do this one real quick as well. And we're going to stick with the same scoped Dragonfly. Again, just select the weapon you want to upgrade, then go to Upgrade and Inspect, go to Modify Perks. And from here, you can see the upgrades to the right above replacements. If we upgraded this one, it would turn this green perk into a blue one and increase the damage. If we increased any of these, it would turn into a purple perk, and it also increases damage as well. So I think what we're going to do is go ahead and increase our damage to missed monsters and bosses. And you can see the modification cost in the bottom right. So we're going to go ahead and confirm this. And I believe we just completed the second tutorial quest. Yeah, we just completed the Perk Upgrade quest. And we got some more upgrade resources. And as you see, we also got the legendary perk up resource as well. And evidently those are the only 2 tutorial quests that you're going to get. I guess another thing I should point out are some of the new quests that have been added. This one actually isn't new, but this Fortune and Glory is new. All you have to do to complete this one is open 10 caches. For this one, you're going to have to kill 50 mist monsters, and this also gives the re-perk resource. In order to complete this quest, you're going to have to kill 300 fire husk in successful missions, and you're going to get that fire up elemental resource. For this one, you're going to have to kill 300 nature husk. You're going to get the amp up resource. Same thing with water, kill 300 water husk, get the frost up resource. And when you kill a chrome husk in a successful mission, you're going to get some more re-perk resources. And I guess the main thing I should point out when it comes to these new quests is that they're all repeatable. So after you've completed it once, this quest will reappear and you'll be given the option to do it again. So yeah, in order to farm re-perk, you're going to have to open caches, kill mist monsters, and kill chrome husk. In order to farm fire up, you're going to have to kill fire husk, Amp Up, kill Nature Husk, and Frost Up, kill Water Husk. Another way you can earn some of these new resources is by looking at the mission rewards screen. As you can see, this mission rewards the Amp Up elemental resource, which is used to change your perks to the nature element. As you see, this one gives the Fire Up elemental resource. This is what the new Frost Up resource looks like. And that's also going to tell you what type of husk you're going to be fighting against. So with this mission that gives Frost Up, for example, as you can see here, when we look at the mission details, we're going to be fighting against Water Husk. Same thing is true with this Evacuate the Shelter. This one gives the Fire Up resources, and the Firestorm modifier changes all of the elemental enemies to fire. And the same thing is true with Amp Up. If you see that as a reward, that means that mission's going to have nature enemies. So not only will you get that elemental resource from that mission, again, every time you kill 300 types of that elemental enemy, you're going to get even more of that resource. Some missions can also give the Re-Perk resource. And you see this one gives the Epic Perk Up resource, which is used to upgrade your perks. This one gives the Legendary Perk Up resource. So again, you can also get some of these new resources from the mission rewards. I also believe these new resources will be given as mission alert rewards, so you should be able to see them on Storm Shield 1. As of right now, I believe they're labeled as unknown resources, but as soon as they update that, you should be able to see them from there as well. And it's stated in the patch notes that there was a quota for these elemental storm mission alerts. You're going to be able to get 2 of each. I'm assuming every 24 hours. I haven't tested it out yet, but evidently there's a cap. And a couple of other things I wanted to point out before I go is, for one, how you can increase the rarity. For every new weapon, you'll be able to increase the rarity right away. For legacy weapons, you're going to have to first convert them. But yeah, all you have to do is just select the upgrade option. You'll see an option that says increase rarity, and that's going to cost you 100 legendary flux. So yeah, you will be able to increase the rarity of your weapons. I do want to quickly show what the traps look like as well. As you can see, when we try to modify the perks of the wooden floor spikes, they'll give us the new physical and increased damage perk. And again, you're going to have to convert them first. Some traps like the ceiling zapper automatically come with nature damage. And I'm going to go ahead and quickly scroll through the other slots so you can see their upgrades and replacements. For this first one, you got crit rating, damage, or durability. Obviously, you're either going to want to go with damage or crit rating. I'm going to go ahead and stick with crit rating. For this one, you got reload speed, durability, crit damage, or damage. And considering we already have crit damage, I'm going to go ahead and keep this at reload speed. But we will be able to upgrade it and make it a little bit faster. For this third slot, you have damage, crit rating, and durability. And you're going to want to either go with damage or crit rating. I feel like if we increase our initial crit rating, we can go ahead and keep this at damage for now. For the fourth slot, you can either have crit damage, durability, damage, or reload speed. We're going to go ahead and keep it at crit damage since we have crit rating. And for this fifth slot, you're going to have to choose between durability, heals attached building 3.2% of its max health every 10 seconds, and 11% increased building health. So attaching this trap to a specific structure can increase the building health. It can also heal the attached building structure every 10 seconds, or you can increase the durability. And again, I haven't tested these out yet, but I kind of feel like one of these replacements would be better than durability. If you plan on using tier 3 building structures, you may want to choose the perk that heals. If you don't plan on using tier 3 structures, then you may want to try to go with building health. I kind of feel like the perk that heals would probably be the best perk in this slot. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. So if I had to choose one for every slot, I would go with crit rating in this first slot, crit damage in this second slot, or for those of you who prefer reload speed, you can use reload speed, crit rating for this third slot, crit damage for this fourth slot, and again, if you prefer to have a little bit more reload speed, you can select that as well. And for the fifth slot, I would choose the one that heals attached buildings. And I guess the last thing we should look at are the best perks for weapons. And we're going to take a look at the Whisper for this example. In the first slot, you can either choose crit rating, crit damage, damage, or fire rate. And for this example, you're going to want to go with either crit rating or damage. Technically, you could go for crit damage, but we already have a perk that does crit damage, so I'd say we either go for crit rating or damage. In this example, we're going to stick with crit rating. For this second slot, the best perk is magazine size. For this third slot, choose any element that's not energy or physical. There might be a couple of situations where energy and physical might be useful, but for the most part, I think you're going to want to choose fire, nature, or water most of the time. Now, assuming we chose crit rating for the first slot, I believe the best perk you can use for this fourth slot is crit damage. If you chose crit damage in the first slot, then you may want to choose crit rating. And I believe the best perk for the fifth slot would be an increase the damage to missed monsters and bosses in most situations. If you have a weapon that does affliction damage, you may want to choose that increased damage to afflicted targets. But I believe the damage to missed monsters and bosses is the best perk. So to sum things up, as of right now, I believe the best roll would be crit rating, magazine size, elemental damage, crit damage, and damage to missed monsters. Another way you could go about doing this is just going damage, magazine size, elemental damage, more damage, and then damage to missed monsters and bosses. But I believe the crit rating and the crit damage is going to help you do more damage in the long run, again with most weapons. And keep in mind, you also want to keep your hero perk and abilities in mind when re-rolling these weapons. If you're playing with a hero that already came with a high crit rating, or a hero in your support slot that increases your crit rating, then you may not need as much crit rating on your weapon. I guess the last thing we should look at are melee weapons. So in our first slot we have crit damage, crit rating, damage, and attack speed. For our second slot we have damage resistance, durability, life leech, as well as movement speed. For our third slot you can choose your element, or physical, or energy damage. For the fourth slot you have heavy attack efficiency, crit rating, crit damage, and damage. And for the fifth slot you have damage to afflicted, damage to missed monsters and bosses, damage to slowed, and damage to stunned. And at the very bottom you can see it causes affliction, and there's no alterations for this perk. It just comes with affliction damage. So for this example, since it causes affliction damage, I believe we can go ahead and keep this damage to afflicted targets. The other good perk for this slot would be damage to missed monsters and bosses. For the fourth slot you want to go with either crit rating or crit damage. In our first slot we have crit damage, so we're going to want to go with crit rating in this example. For your third slot, you're going to want an element. I kind of feel like the second slot sort of depends on what hero you use, but I kind of feel like life leech is a really good perk to use for this slot. Either that or damage resistance. And for the first slot, we're going to go ahead and keep it at crit damage. Again, you're probably going to want to go either with crit rating or crit damage most of the time. There may be certain instances where you want to choose damage, and those are what I believe to be the best perks for each slot, for both melee and ranged weapons as well as traps. Let me know what you believe to be the best roll for each type of weapon in the comments below. Before I go, take a look at the new quad launcher. We're going to get some gameplay of this later on tonight, and we're also going to try to go over everything that was in the patch notes. Anyways, I hope y'all found this video useful, and thanks for watching.